YouTube update. Podcast has been going well. I've actually been able to schedule a shit ton of people to be guests on the podcast. And even some famous people too, is a crazy thing. So, a couple famous people. One is Matt Steinwide. He's the #1 realtor in Australia, and he started off like homeless, wanted by the police, and pretty cool story. And the second person is Brendan Myers. He's a fitness YouTuber. So I got these two people. I did the interview with Matt Steinwide. It did not go well. Okay, #1, he lives in Australia, so I couldn't do it in person. This was my first one I had to figure out how to not do in person. I said, yeah, we'll Skype. They said, oh, we've tried to Skype before. It didn't work. So I had to do, they wanted to do WhatsApp. So now I had to figure out how the fuck do you record a conversation on WhatsApp. So I was trying to download all these apps, and a lot of them you had to pay for. So I did like the free trials just to see if they worked. And I was just like researching and stressing the whole day about it, because when I reached out to them, I originally thought that, these people would be busy. Like Brendan Myers, he was busy. He said, I won't be available till mid-June. So I haven't done one with Brendan Myers yet. And I thought that would be the same response from Matt Steinway, but it was like, how's tomorrow at 8 p.m.? Less than 24 hours. So of course, I'm stressed and trying to figure out how the hell to do this. And finally, I'm just like, you know what? Picking this app, it might work, it might not work. Let's just see what happens. So I'm pretty nervous because I don't even know if this thing is gonna record. So sure enough, get on the phone call him, put him on hold to go get the recorder app on, and it doesn't work. So of course I don't tell him that. So what I did was eventually, after about 5 minutes in, I had this brilliant idea. Why don't I just unplug it, put it on the speaker, plug my microphone into the computer on GarageBand, and just fucking stick him into the microphone, and that's what I did. And then I used the Levelator app to kind of balance out the levels, to bring his up and to bring mine down, because I was also talking into that same mic. And that's what I did, and it worked out alright, but it really didn't go well. It wasn't a good interview. It kind of seemed like he was doing it out of pity, kind of cut me off early. Who the fuck is calling me? It just wasn't a fun interview. I didn't do too good. I didn't do good on my part, but that's part of the learning experience. So what I've kind of decided is that I want to try to keep these interviews in person. So now, instead of just reaching out to random famous people all over the place, I'm trying to reach out to people who have large followings in Orlando. Another thing that I did to try to get guests on there, interesting guests in Orlando, is I posted a Facebook ad that basically said, hey, do you want to be a guest on a podcast? That's the moral of the story. I haven't got any responses from that yet. It's only been like 2 days, but no, I haven't got any responses. Except for one guy who was just like weird as hell, just messaging me like, I'm so confused. And I'm like, well, it said you replied to my ad. And he's like, what? I'm like, maybe it said that you applied to my ad that you want to be guest on my podcast. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. He's like, my name is Brett. I'm like, oh, I don't know what the fuck that means. What do you want me to do with that? I know your name is Brett. It fucking says it. So that's how that went. Let's see what else. Yeah, next plan. The next set of Facebook ads that I'm going to be doing is to try to promote the podcast. I'm going to do 2 things to promote the podcast. One, I'm just going to post links on my personal Facebook page for all my friends if they want to check it out. The second thing I'm going to do is post Facebook ads targeting people who I think would be interested in my podcast and see if that gets it more downloads. And the third piece of information, or new news, very exciting. I'm going to be learning Spanish and Italian. I'm in the process of doing Spanish first. I figured it'd probably take me about 5 months, right? Because I think like average is 6, 3 is super fast, or maybe average is a year, I don't know. But I think I'm pretty smart, so I think I'll learn it in 5. I'm using the app Duolingo, and I'm also watching Netflix shows in Spanish with subtitles. Now I haven't been too consistent with that one, but I've been very consistent with the Duolingo app. Then after I learn Spanish, then I'm going to move over to Italian, and I figure I'll have them both within a year. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll do a YouTube episode in Spanish.
I've been sitting on the charts like a beach chair. My last album spent 52 weeks there. Almost finished with the second, you should be scared. Storms coming, you should go inside and prepare.